looking at specifically who you think could have the biggest impact in 2021 outside of Trey Lance?
Oh, man. I mean, again, this is kind of a cop-out, but Trevor Lawrence, man, and I'm excited to watch him because he's been pegged as, like, godly, right? Like, I mean,
Right.
I haven't seen this, and I know everybody talks about, the best prospect since Andrew Luck. I remember Andrew Luck coming out, but I don't remember, like, just the big time hype like that. I wasn't, like, as deep into it. I was still playing at that time, I believe. So when was he
Right.
drafted? I think I was still playing at that time.
Oh, I
So,
think Luck was, I believe, 12. It was 2012.
yeah, see, I was still playing football. So, I wasn't, like, as deep into the stuff as I am now. But, that's what I want to see. Like, are you going to live up to that hype? Because I'll tell you this. I saw some things with his game. I remember tweeting out before last season. I had tweeted out that I'm like, man, like, he hasn't really impressed me as much as a passer. I was like, I think he's a better runner than he is pure passer. And that was one thing that shocked me, how well of a runner he is, because nobody talks about that, right? And they don't talk about Trevor Lawrence as a runner. Everything is him. Oh, he's just this can't miss prospect. But I was a little underwhelmed with sometimes the way the ball came out of his hands, the contested throws that he was making, throwing things, leading guys out of bounds. And there were a lot of things that were a little weird. That's not to say that he's not a terrific prospect, but they've made it seem like he's
a slam dunk, right? Right.
He's a slam dunk. And I saw things that were a little alarming. So I'm curious to see, does he play to the level that a lot of people think? And if he does struggle, it's like, well, of course, because a lot of the things he kind of struggled with a little bit in college. Now, some people blame the offensive coordinator. You look at a lot of the numbers. You said you're an analytics guy. They were talking about, him being one of the least accurate guys at certain levels of the field, especially when they compare it to Justin Fields, Zach Wilson, those guys. And that was weird to me too. Like, I'm watching Justin Fields. Like, I watched a lot of Trevor Lawrence too. And I had a hard time understanding how you can say Trevor Lawrence is better than Justin Fields. And I don't even know where. Like, you would have to show me, like, is he a better deep ball thrower? No, I didn't think so. Does he have a bigger arm? No, I didn't think so. Is he more athletic? No, I don't think so. Like, so it's like, I struggle to kind of feel. So that's what I'm kind of rambling on. But I'm excited to see Trevor Lawrence because he's been pegged as this can't miss prospect. And while I do think he's tremendous, and I would have taken him probably number one, maybe Justin Fields. I love Justin Fields a lot. I'm not. I don't know. I'm not buying all the way into the hype that's kind of put on him.
Yeah, and I think the thing with Trevor Lawrence too is, this is a guy who went from, and this happens with all number one picks, but this is a guy who was a high level winner who's going to go to one of the worst franchises in the NFL. Let's just be frank about it. He's not going to be put in the same position he wasn't in college. And one comment I saw, Croc, and I want to get your opinion on, I think I saw it from Chris Sims specifically when he was going over his quarterbacks. He said, with Trevor Lawrence, he didn't necessarily really see him improve as a passer from his freshman year on, and that, how much better did he get from that national championship freshman Heisman season when he did all these incredible things?
I think a lot of it was just what that did, right? I mean, he had already been like this can't miss prospect coming out of high school, right? One of the best between him and Justin Fields too, but one of the highly rated quarterbacks coming out of high school ever, right? So you have that. Then you come in and you replace Kelly Bryant, who had played in, I believe, a national title game or a playoff game just a year before. I think they got smashed by like Alabama or whatever.
Right.
And then you come in, you replace him like midway through the season, and you lead Clemson to a national title game, and they destroy Alabama. And you outplay Tua, who a lot of people were going, tank for Tua. He was that whole thing at that time. So you had that whole thing happen. And I think that's when it was just like, boom, like just the hype, the level of expectations were so high that I don't even think that there was anything he could do to kind of come down from there. So I did think it kind of flattened off. I think a lot of people were looking at, well, if he's this good now, well, he's only going to get better. And I think in their heads, they just every year assume, well, he's just better. He's just better. And I thought it kind of flattened off a little bit. Not to say that's not good, but I just thought it flattened off a little bit. And I don't know. He didn't get nitpicked like a lot of other guys. He has just loopy throwing motion. Nobody mentioned that. They want to mention Trey Lance maybe dropping the ball a little bit. They want to talk about Justin Fields and his kind of bringing the ball here, but nobody talked about Trevor Lawrence and him bringing the ball way down here to come up here. And I'm not saying he's a bad prospect, and I'm just saying that there were a lot of things that people weren't pointing out with him that they definitely were with other guys, and they just made him a clear cut, just the most amazing prospect. So I can't wait to see him, and not to say that I'm wishing any bad on him or anything like that, but just from the standpoint of like, is he what they say? And maybe I'm wrong, maybe I'm missing something to the extent of how they hype him up.
Yeah, well, and I think hey, it'll be interesting to see that Urban Meyer, Trevor Lawrence combination. I'm an FSU guy, so I'm not going to speak very highly on Urban Meyer. In fact, don't get me talking about him. I'll probably say some out there stuff. But I mean, let's be real with Trevor Lawrence. Like with what you're saying is that he came out and proved so much early on that, man, it's kind of hard to top that, like you were saying. And it's not a bad thing that he may have plateaued or stayed at that consistent level, but man, it is. I would imagine it's hard to impress people even more when you come out and you're that successful that quickly.
Right, and I hope that's not what I'm doing. I don't want to be that guy, but yeah, I mean, it's just it's interesting, man, and I'm curious to see it, and I want to see like is he just that much better than Trevor Lawrence, even with what it looks like? And some of it can be situations that guys go to, but I think Justin Fields went to a terrific situation, for him. He's coming into Bears organization that has like pretty solid structure with the way the team is built, good weapons and everything around him. So that's going to be something that where I feel like he's in a good spot. Aside from his head coach coming out and saying like Andy Dalton is their guy, I'm like,